Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I have decided that this one's going to be a secret one, a surprise one. So I didn't post what it actually is, but I'm excited to show you. So right now it looks like a giant mustache. And we're just going to go with that. It's a giant mustache. What are we painting today? So yeah, you're gonna see me erase and move some things around and get it the way I want it. And then I'm gonna slap some white paint on there because I need to prime the background because I want it to be bright colors. And if I seal this with resin, it's gonna darken the rock, which is gonna darken the background, which is gonna dull the colors. So I need to prime the background once I have my design on here. And I'm sure you're like, uh-oh, Rachel, another owl? Are you serious? I'm not gonna say. I'm not gonna say. So I am going to use a couple of different sponges. There's little wooden one, a little paintbrush one that I've created. It's my blending brush tutorial if you want to take a look at that. It's just cutting down a brush in order to use it as like a little sponge for the little areas, which you're going to see that I have to use in a couple of different areas in this painting. So I am going to prime everything that is going to have bright colors in it. So I'm using a variety of different sponges to just kind of fill it in. I did outline it all first and then sponge it all in, and I'm going to do a couple of coats of white. I'm going to let it dry, do another coat, and make sure that it's completely covered in those areas. So I've penciled in some lines in some areas that you can see up top. Don't worry, you're going to see what we're doing here very soon. I'm sorry if you don't want what we're doing, and I'm sorry if you're unsure. Keep watching. Keep watching. So I'm outlining our white in gold for sure. There's going to be lots of gold. Making sure that I erase all pencil lines that I don't really want anymore. I want to be able to see the rock in those two spaces right now. So I erased the pencil that I don't need, and I'm going to make sure to keep conscious of the pencil lines that I've already drawn because we need to make sure they're not still showing at all. So I'm going to outline this area with black. We're going to do something cool in there a little later. Yeah, this is looking pretty good. Starting to look the way I want it to. Don't get bored. Don't run. It's not what you think it is. Yeah, I'm excited to do this one. Very excited. So everything's been outlined. I've done two little loops on either side. They're kind of like ears, I guess. It's just part of the design. Making sure this, I guess it's a beak, right? It's just upside down. We're going to outline everything in black. We will probably be going back and outlining this stuff again and fixing it a couple of times, but that's just part of the process. Sometimes we have to fix some stuff after in order to have our final masterpiece. So everything's the way I need it to be. I'm going to be using a couple of different colors, actually. I think I'm going to use Perfect Purple, and I'm going to use Bright Green. I might use a little bit of lavender. So this is Perfect Purple right now. And I'm going to use sponges. Again, I just wanted to get it outlined, the outer edges up against the gold. I wanted that be careful with it. So I used my fine lining brush, which I have a tutorial for as well. And then I'm using a sponge to just kind of blend in some white and some lavender in certain areas because I kind of want this to look like kind of shiny, I guess, like maybe like ribbon. So I'm putting a little bit of a sheen on that perfect purple. And I'm going to do purple on this side at the bottom. Just going to be creative. See what we come up with here. Any guesses on what this is? You're probably like, ugh, Rach, you have like 175 owl tutorials already. What are you doing? Stay tuned. Sorry, you might hear barking. You might hear my kid knock at the door and ask me for a snack because I am at home and I'm working on my tutorial. So I'm lightening both sides, have a little bit of lighter white and lavender that I've put in there. And I'm just kind of going over it back and forth until it looks like a smooth, like kind of like ribbon. That's kind of what I'm going for. Now I'm using bright green. So I did the same thing. I outlined it up against the gold, and then I'm adding a little bit of lighter green, which is a lime green, and some white, and hopefully get the same kind of look that I was trying to go for with the purple. You do have to have like a little cup of fresh water so that you can keep washing out your sponge or your blending brushes. Don't mix your colors together. Make sure you use a fresh, clean sponge with every color. Or you're going to just make a frustrating old mess of everything. We're not going to do a standard beak color in that little white space in the center. We're going to use some blue, or actually, it's not even blue. It's actually called, I think, deep marine. So it's kind of like a teal blue. And I'm going to make this beak, or what it looks like to be a beak, I'm going to make it look like a jewel. So it's a jewel beak. And I'm doing the same thing, blending in a specific area. I want it to be lighter than the rest of it. I'm going to add a little bit of white to give it that glint of light as well, to make it look like it's extra shiny, like it might be a jewel beak or a jewel of some sort. Outlining again to make sure, because after all of that blending and putting color in there, you might have made a mess of things. So you got to clean it up, outline everything again. It's okay if you do thick black outlines, that's fine. And if you don't like the color choices, wait till we're done. If you don't like the color choices that I've made, by all means, you can choose different colors, but stay tuned, watch and see what this turns into. So now I've done some weird things. Those are feathers. I'm being honest with you. Those are going to be feathers up there. It's upside down. You can't see how they're going to be feathers. You can still see pencil everywhere. Now you can see this squiggly line here. I'm doing kind of like a chain of dots all the way, just tiny little ones. It's just gold. If you want to use silver, it's up to you. I love gold, you know I do. So I'm using gold. I've drawn another line, not quite as squiggly. We're going to do a really funky, if this is an owl, it's going to be funky. I don't know. It's this line that I drew in pencil isn't as squiggly as the smaller one that I did gold dots on. There's a method to the madness. Now I'm using my sponge again, using a little bit of white, and I'm turning these into feathers. So I'm blending out where there's going to need to be color. So once again, we're kind of priming our area for feathers. but not the whole thing, just where the feathers are going to be. So I'm priming that. I did little like seams down the center of the feather. What are those called? I can't think of it right now. Tell me in the comments. And then I sponged out. And now I'm going to make those, some of the feathers are going to be green to match above. It's hard to keep this a secret, you know. It's really hard not to say like what I'm actually doing. You're going to figure it out very soon. You're going to be like, oh, I see it now. And then some of you probably already clicked off of it. Said, I don't need to see any more owls. I'm bored. I'm using all three of my little blending tools. Actually, I didn't use the small wooden one. It's from Craftsmart, and it's really got a very small, very thin sponge on it, and it doesn't blend very nicely. So I've been pretty much sticking to this little old Martha Stewart sponge that I stuck a different sponge on top of it because the other one was gone. And I'm using my blending brush, my little one, because it's broken in half. So I'm kind of doing the same thing over top of the white because that was just our primer. I do like a seam down the center with the color green, and then I use a sponge to kind of sponge it out into a point so that it looks like a feather. And now I've got lime green. I'm just going to kind of give you an idea of what my idea is here. Give you an idea of my idea. So I'm taking some lime green and I put a stem down, or a seam down the center. And then I feathered out, flicking the paintbrush in lime green. So that's what I'm going to do with all of these feathers. Some of them are going to be purple, some of them are going to be yellow, and some of them are going to be green. So I'm going to do that, and you can just watch how I do it. Good to probably sponge out all the colors first. Make sure, once again, you're rinsing the sponge between colors. You do not want to mix any colors together. And if you want to wait until everything's dry, like each color of feathers, just let them dry and then move on to the next set. I'm impatient, so I'm risking like making a mess of things and colors blending together. But if you want to wait until each color is dry before you move on to the next, it's probably smart. But yeah, they don't look like feathers right now. They look like a blurry mess, and it will all come together. That's, oh, did you see it? Do you know what we're doing? Put in the comments, what do you think we're doing? Now I'm going in with lavender on top of the perfect purple. So same idea as the green. You start with a darker green, you sponge out that color, and then you go in with the fine lining brush with a lighter shade. So that there looks like to be a feather texture almost. So I'm going to do that with everyone. The yellow is moon yellow sponged out, and I'm going to put daffodil yellow, which is much lighter, and put that on top, and just make it like hairy. And you can overlap. You can make sure that each one is fuzzy where it's supposed to be, that it looks like it's feathery where it's supposed to be. These feathers are a little fuzzier than like the sleek feathers that you would normally see, where they're very, very smooth. These ones are a bit fuzzy, but that's what I'm going for. Does anybody know what we're doing yet? This is fun. I'm excited to read what you say in the comments. And I'm excited that I can do a surprise once in a while. That I don't have to tell you right away. And you can't tell right away what it is. Now I am going to have to go back over to that blue jewel and I'm going to have to outline it again with black and gold. I also have to put the glint of shine on it to make it look like it's more of a jewel. I'm just perfecting my feathers. And if you put too much of the light green, you can go back in once it's dry, go back in with a little bit of the dark green again and just go over top of it and mingle it together until it looks the way you want it to. But I think they look pretty good as feathers at the moment anyway. It's looking good. It's looking the way I want it to. Is anyone certain of what this is? So I have to go in and once again outline everything. I've gone overboard. I've gone over the lines and I've made a bit of a mess. So I've got to fix it. Everything has got to be separated. The jewel area has to be separated from the feathers, and the purple and green area has to be separated from the feathers as well. So it all has to be outlined and it all has to look good. And I still need to be able to see a visible gold outline as well as the black outline. So it's a bit tedious getting everything right, but that's okay. Throw on a documentary, put on an audiobook, put on your favorite Netflix series and listen to it while you're creating something cool. Now, you know how I like to add some dots to feathers on my owls. So there's some more dots. These are big black dots. We're going to let those dry and we're going to erase some of them because I added too many. I didn't like those. So I wiped them off with Q-tips, and I'm going to go in with black and do like a, I don't know, I guess a mustache, a little black design beside the jewel. And it might look a bit off because there's a couple of polka dots in there, but I'm going to shape it the way I need it to be, and I'm going to add some gold in there as well. So everything is, there's the little white shimmer to make it look a little bit more like a jewel. Everything has its everything has its place. Everything is the way it's supposed to be. I have to make sure everything's outlined again. Certain things have to dry, like the black dots that we did down here. Now I'm adding gold on top of some of those because I guess it kind of looks like, like beads, I guess. I don't know. And I'm going to do a variation of yellow, green, purple, a little bit of that teal blue, actually. I'm just going to do each one. And the reason I did black first is so that we don't have to go and outline them all, right? Because that'd be a little much. I'm not doing that. So I started with black, and then I add the color of bead on top, and then they're already outlined. There you go. You've learned something today. So yeah, I'm just going to tell you, it's not an owl. And it doesn't really even look like an owl. It's a Mardi Gras mask. Mardi Gras is coming up, actually. I believe the 17th of February. I could be wrong. But most of the time, you'll see the colors gold, green, and purple when it comes to Mardi Gras. So that is why I chose the colors that I did. And I wanted to fancy it up with some feathers and some beads and some gold, little gold beads. And I wanted also to make sure that it looks like there's some shading underneath certain areas so that it looks like it's sitting on top of the rock. So I want the illusion of shading once we're done all of the designs that we want to do in our mask. These are beads up on the feathers as well. So I started with black. I'm filling it in with color and gold The exact same thing I did with the beads below. In here, I've watered down black paint so that I can sponge it on using my little brush to make it look like it's shading. You do need a lighter background in order to have the shading be noticeable. So make sure you choose wisely when it comes to painting this on a lighter background. You don't even have to paint it on a rock. You can paint it on a canvas. Or you can paint your rock white and do a light background and then do the shading just like I'm doing right now. So I'm kind of going underneath the beads, underneath the mask, underneath the eye areas, so that it looks like it's kind of sitting above the rock a little bit. I'm also going to do, with watered down black paint, some shading underneath the feathers that sit against the rock. Not the ones, like, not where it's connected, but where you can see part of the rock background. I'm going to do some behind there, and I'll show you that at the very end. I'm still waiting for my feathers to dry. So I'm adding a nice thick layer of gold in here on these two little, I guess it's just part of the design of the mask. I don't know. I was just kind of winging it again. But yeah, it's kind of looking like it's 3D. It's popping off the rock. I'm using my blending brush to kind of scrub along underneath there to make sure the shading is the way I want it to be. It's going to look a little darker right now because the paint is still wet, but once it dries, that shading will get a little bit lighter. And then I've got to resin this, but we're going to do some feather shading. Okay, so while I shade behind the feathers, doing the same thing with watered down black acrylic paint, I'm going to explain Mardi Gras. It was initially celebrated by European Christians as a way to mark the beginning of Lent to prepare for the fasting period for Easter. Today, it is one of the world's most colorful and vibrant festivals, featuring party-like parades, elaborate costumes, lively music, and indulgent feasting. And I believe it's on February 17th, but I'm going to look it up. I was right. Tuesday, February 17th, 2026. So get your masks ready and celebrate, and your beads. Originally, I was told some things to think about to inspire me with Mardi Gras. What kind of things can I paint? My friend said boobs and beads, but we did not do that. We did a mask and beads. I really like it. I think I'll make others with different colors maybe. Let me know what you think. I'm going to go resin this, make it all shiny, and see what you think of it all shiny as well. Hopefully we can still see some of the shading, but I don't know. We'll see. One moment. By the way, I'm sorry for that background humming. It's my air purifier. I turned it off for this little bit here. Look at that. It is stunning, and it actually turned out pretty good even though I resined it. So it still looks like it's popping off the rock. There's some shading there. I can see the colors really well, and it's nice and shiny and glossy. I actually really like it. I can't take a picture of it yet because it's too wet and I'm impatient. So I showed you a short video of it, but I'm just showing you a video of it not resin, or sorry, a picture now of it not resin. Anyway, I hope you liked this surprise one. Happy Mardi Gras on the 17th of February, whoever is celebrating. I hope you make a mask as well. Let me know what you think in the comments. I love you, and I will see you very, very soon. Bye.